Hello and welcome back. It is me again, and today we are discussing the many, many lies of Donald Trump. Not a fun topic, but one that I feel is important. And why are the sound effects so loud? Hold on. um, that's better. I missed the audio cue here, but whatever. An update was released earlier today, so hopefully some of the bugs have been fixed, although I have not been able to find a change log. I'm not gonna try and get hit, but we'll see if the Holy Mantle regenerates itself again. Or rather, the Holy Card Mantle effect. And today might be the final episode of this season, at least. Let's get to it. It doesn't matter. Oh boy. This is not a topic for an episode that I want to do per se, but it is one that I feel is important to do, if that makes sense. Lacrophagy. Oh, cool. Oh. That was so quiet. Okay, the audio balancing is kind of messed up right now, it sounds like. Huh. Huh. Yeah, I'm not gonna preface this topic with much. I'd prefer to get into it and to, like... Again, not a topic I want to have, but one that I feel is important to have. And let's continue exploring this direction first. I understand... I have no issues with conservatism itself. I have conservative friends and family members. I don't mind these things, even if I do disagree with them on things. I am politically moderate. If that matters to people, let's blow that up because we're right there. Although it is a bit unfortunate that I couldn't get double pennies on these, but still. But, even though I am politically moderate, since his first term as president, I have been pretty against Trump. And it disturbs me to see that people aren't against Trump at this point. With how much he has done, with how much he has said. I get that it's easy... Oh, thank you. Sort of. I get that it's easy to not have much faith in the current American political system, and that it's easy to say that a lot of politicians are liars, or criminals, or whatever have you. And there is some merit to that as well, unfortunately. But the truth of that is that America has never been that clean of a place politically in the first place. Also, where... I guess there's only one place it can be, huh? But with Trump specifically, this is kind of a whole other level. Oh, cool. Yeah, things are bad with Trump specifically. And it's not that I intend to offend any conservatives with what I'm saying today. That is not the objective. It is not the objective to lambast Trump just with, like, hearsay or personal opinions. Because there are mountains of evidence of specific claims that he has made about a variety of things that are not good, that have been verified as false, as fake news. In addition to quite a few, despite appealing to a broad evangelical Christian base, there are quite a few things that biblically count as sin that Trump has bragged about on a number of occasions. And I guess to finish up this sort of intro, before we get into the meat of it, and yeah, I'll take a mystery item. Never mind, that was a terrible mystery item. Oh, man. I should have at least waited for the Necronomicon to charge back up. One final thing that I feel is worth it to mention for this intro is that, you know, back in 2016, I actually intentionally abstained from voting. That was the first year that I was able to vote, and yet I abstained from voting in the presidential election at that time. Because I didn't... Personally, I didn't like either major candidate. I felt that Hillary Clinton sort of represented the old guard in a sense of, like, if you know much about the legacy of the Clintons as a political family, I don't have much faith in them. It is nothing against Hillary as, you know, because she is a woman. I don't think the email thing is that big of a deal either, but on the other hand, you had Trump, who, in 2016 at least, although, again, I didn't vote for anyone in that election, I sort of saw Trump as a... Like, I was, to be perfectly transparent about it, I was hopeful. I didn't vote for him because I didn't put that much stock in him, especially after a number of very problematic things he said came out that he was not bashful at all about as well. Also, I need to be careful. There are ghost chests now. Forgot about that. I could die at any moment. But yeah, I was hopeful that someone outside of the political system would be able to really make a difference and change things, shake things up, wrestle away power from these long-standing institutions that have not used their power appropriately. Oh, pay to play? Sure. But ultimately, it seems like... honestly, I would rather keep the Necronomicon. Actually, hold on. Okay, it's not... Oh, no, right, it's at the top. I'm looking for the Necromancer tag, and yes, Necronomicon does have the Necromancer tag. Good. So this should lead to the new transformation, although I have no idea what the other two items involved are. But no, ultimately, final piece of opinion here, it really just seems like Trump, although not being someone, you know, from an established political family, as America seems to operate more recently, his sort of recklessness took advantage of the existing political system. Oh, that's a new sound effect. And it kind of just hijacked it for his own personal gain. And the gain of a lot of his wealthy and politically powerful friends. There's not much more to it than that. I mean, I understand that a lot of people still have a lot of faith in Trump, but let me ask, how has anything gotten better? Has anything at all gotten better? But, you know, this is enough of a sort of intro opinion. Let's talk about some specifics and some things that have been proven and things that have been disproven, because what you'll come to find out is that Trump lies a lot about everything. Everything. And it's not just that this is typical American politician behavior. I'm sure the typical American politician, unfortunately, doesn't fare that well in terms of how honest they are in general. Because, not that they're, a super dishonest or manipulative person per se, but that the political game sort of requires a bunch of white lies or simplifications or whatever have you, But with Trump, what we see is not just one, but two, maybe even three orders of magnitude more lies and deception. It's truly absurd. So, some sources to start off with. The Washington Post has a fact checker section of theirs that has cataloged so far tens of thousands of false or misleading claims made by Trump across his political career. They have an ongoing claims database, in fact. If you want to look into it yourself, feel free to disagree with... Oh, wow, we actually got one. Feel free to disagree with some, or even most of them, but, this isn't... I want you to understand that this is not me simply saying that Trump is a liar. If you... Oh, I don't want butt, Penny. If you take issue with the statement that Trump lies a lot, then I would encourage you to take that up with the Washington Post. Unidentified pill. Yes, thank you, game. Thank you, game. Why? Man, okay, the audio balancing is so bizarre right now. So bizarre. Let's see, Oh, that's not it? Huh. PolitiFact has also done recorded hundreds of individual lies that Trump has said, and wrote about its experience fact-checking Trump as well, and finds a high share of his related statements were false. And factcheck.org maintains an archive of Trump fact checks. Oh, that's a very good one. A very good one. So they have an archive of Trump fact checks and explainer pieces as well. So those are the three main sources for today. Again, if you have specific issues, feel free to look into these sources yourself. I think I stand by them. Oh. Because I'm not going to get into that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into the thing I wanted to get into right there. It's not worth it. Let's just get into the list, shall we? And I don't mean the list that's been in the news recently, either. Although that is yet another... whatchamacallit? Another strike against Trump, certainly. So, first of all, the claim that the 2020 election was stolen or, curse of the blind again, that there was a massive successful fraud that changed the result of the election. How true is that claim? Well, this claim, first of all, doesn't come out of nowhere. This was a claim that Trump himself made directly to the media, quite a few times, ever since November 3rd, 2020. Trump talked a lot about it, at least until he entered office the second time. Hold on, I need to focus a little bit. This has been, his claim that the election was stolen has been extensively fact-checked and found false, not just by courts, not just by state officials, not just by even Republicans. Have disagreed on it, have studied this problem and disagreed and said, no, this isn't stolen. This is not a stolen election. at all. The Department of Justice as well. Oh. Yeah, I'll take that. Found no evidence of fraud on the scale claimed. Again, there's lots of sources you can go to. Almost any reputable news source will tell you as much, that the election was not stolen in any capacity. But here, and unfortunately this is becoming a bit of a trend these days, I do blame Trump, but I also blame a lot of media in general, not just right-wing media per se, although right-wing media is certainly at fault of this a lot, but left-wing media can just as easily make use of this scheme, if you will. There's a disturbing and growing trend that you can simply just lie and get away with it, because people are too lazy to actually check. It's incredibly disturbing. Let's see. Next claim, I don't want to spend too long on any one of these because there are a lot to get through. Next, Trump's various claims about the economy. Hold on. There. Throughout the years. For instance, that the US is the best economy in history, or the best economy in the history of the world, even. These are direct quotes. This is something that Trump repeated many times in many different situations. He's even... What was that noise? What is... Oh! Hold on. Oh. Oh. Is this lacrophagy? No. Okay, it was just that enemy. He makes sounds now. That's cool. Even after imposing tariffs, which, that's an ongoing battle with the courts right now, isn't it? I believe Trump has still made claims that the US economy is the best in the world, even though he just ruined it, you know? We'll blow you up. I'm not confident in gaining enough money otherwise. I'm hoping for the black candle, but hey, that's pretty good. Economists and fact-checkers show that these statements are unsupported or misleading. Washington Post and others document how often Trump makes these sort of claims and why they're false or materially exaggerated. The simple fact of the matter is that our economy was never the best in the world, never the best in history. I'm actually sorry, maybe it was at one point, maybe the best in the world, maybe. But it certainly isn't now. It certainly isn't now. That is not the secret room. I'm a little surprised. I am impressed with myself, though, for not having gotten hit once yet. No? Okay, I'm just making all the wrong choices, I guess. At least I have infinite bombs. That sound effect is so quiet. Bottom. Oh, no. Alright, next. The claim that the crowd at Trump's inauguration was the largest or most watched inauguration in American history. Something along those lines. Photographs, independent crowd estimates, and multiple fact checks show that the claim was false. No surprise there. Even hardcore Trump fans are not likely to, actually, yes, we'll just use that, won't we? Are not likely to believe his claim that his inauguration was the biggest or best in history anyway, because that sounds like more standard political, just, you know, not grandstanding, more standard fare political exaggeration. But at the same time, when I said we're talking about every lie of Trump, or almost every lie, I really do mean almost every lie. We're talking about even the petty stuff, even the small stuff, okay? And the big stuff. We'll get to other big topics before too long as well. I don't want to give the impression that the claim that the 2020 election was stolen is the only thing that I take serious issue with. We'll get back to other stuff. Man. Ooh. Damage! Yes! Nice! Oh. Okay, good. He's... Uh-oh. I'm quite relieved that we got damage off on this. Or a stat boost can be completely useless to me, you know? Careful. Okay. Yep, that's everything I can do. Next. Getting back to a larger topic now. Why can't I skip? Hello? I can't... Huh. That was strange. I wonder if it's because I'm not technically tabbed in to the game? I mean, that was never an issue before. Curious. The metronome. Wait. No. No transformations. Good. As it should be. Ooh, okay. A larger claim now. Trump downplayed COVID risks and even promoted a lot of disproven remedies such as hydroxychloroquine as a proven cure, minimizing the seriousness of the virus, especially during the early days of COVID. At first, it was just a virus that, you know, we shouldn't worry about because it's not in America, and then it reached America, and Trump's response was basically, well, don't worry about it, it's not bad, it's not worth worrying about, and then it became a problem, and then he started promoting quack solutions. I'll keep that in mind. And then it affected him personally, and then he started promoting vaccinations. Only after he was personally affected by it. Okay, there we go. Let's see, multiple fact checks document, that's the grammar there. Document inaccurate or misleading statements about the virus treatments, testing, and timing. Again, there's a ton of different sources on this. If you want to learn about the ineffectiveness of hydroxychloroquine, I guess that's, I'm trying to be accurate with my pronunciation here, but yeah, it's horse dewormer. Oh. You fool. Nice. It's horse dewormer. What do you expect would happen? Also, I forgot to enter here with the adoption papers. Oh well. It's not made for human consumption. Why would it ever treat a human disease? Why would we expect it to? I'm not saying that it's completely impossible, but this is definitely a crackpot solution, you know? This is alternative health solutions to an actual pandemic that killed more Americans than almost anything else in history. And in fact, I don't remember the numbers off my head. Did it kill more Americans than anything else in history? I'm trying to remember. I want to say it killed more than the Civil War. New sound effects, cool. Even if the majority of the people that died to COVID were, you know, elderly or immunocompromised, that doesn't mean that those people are invisible or don't matter. You know? It's so frustrating. Okay, soy milk. Oh, cool, it dynamically shows me. I'm not sure how Deadeye would pair with this. But I want to try soy milk. I'll try it. I've had some good soy milk experiences before, I think, with combining soy milk and lacrophagy. Weird to put it like that, I know, but still. Ah, yes. Oop. That was very close. If I wasn't absolutely tiny, that would have been bad. Next, there are a variety of false claims that Trump has made about other people, saying that certain opponents or officials did something that they did not, or statements about such as statements concerning former President Barack Obama and his policies, such as "I inherited the family separation policy from Obama." These assertions have been checked and found false by multiple outlets. Such as for example, the family separation claim. No, that was not inherited from Obama. You can't just introduce an unpopular policy yourself and then claim Obama did it. And it's wild how many people will just hear his version of events, his side of the story, and be like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then never second guess it. Never question it. Yeah. I get it. I was only able to skip cutscenes up until I got the Dreamcatcher. The Dreamcatcher has forced me to not skip cutscenes. That's a good change. I didn't put 2 and 2 together until just then. The Hierophant. Cool. Let's see. And then, in more recent news, although there has certainly been a lot of very recent news that I'm not even sure I want to get into at all, because of how disgusting a lot of the recent actions of Trump and his team as well is in the White House. This could be bad. I need to be very careful. Hi. Please die. Okay, does my holy mantle magically regenerate anymore? It does not. Haha. Alright, well, good to know. They did patch it. I'm not sure if the bug concerning the alternate path is patched yet or not. Again, there was no changelog from what I saw. At least no changelog yet. But who knows? Maybe they accidentally published a dev build or something rather than their intended final product for this particular update. Let's see, so more recently, there have been frequent false or unsubstantiated claims about crime and migrant crime. But he's also made a number of unsubstantiated claims or outright false claims involving a bunch of other topics too, of course, in the past. No, this is safe. Such as on COVID numbers, or even a lot of specific statistical assertions, such as, well, okay, sorry, no specific example. That's on me. Sorry, I was reading one thing, and I got a little confused. I apologize. The Washington Post has, I believe it's an article called Bottomless Pinocchios, and their claims database as well, which you can see for, again, hundreds of instances. Huh. I'll try triple shot. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Yes. What are these noises? Is this you? Is this the boss? What? Huh. I guess so. Uh-oh. Gross boss alert. Honestly, let's do this. There. Not too shabby. I'm tempted by the mysterious paper since I don't have any method of healing at the moment, or any other Holy Mantle type effects. It sort of counts as healing for the Tainted Lost, you know? Sort of. I could go on my own pretty... Nice. I could go on my own pretty long tangent myself about migrant crime, and I might do that later. I might just do that. The boomerang. Ugh. Excuse me. And there's no batteries nearby, are there? Were there any in the shop? There was. There was a battery in the shop. Nice. Let's see. But, you know... Oh, sure, I'll take that. Nice. Oh, true. Well, it's the final floor, so I guess... final shop floor. Although, I could just take that with me, but the Necronomicon is so convenient. You know? Why does it say Necromancer 0 of 3? Is that a bug? I think that's a bug. Let's purchase everything we can. I think what I'll do is actually take this item. I don't recall the name off the top of my head. It is just Keeper's Box. Oh, that was gonna be what I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't confident. Anyway, I could certainly talk... Oh, cool. More about specific lies. I mean, again, there are tens of thousands of them, according to some trackers. Oh, that's so sad. But, since I tend to do, you know, Christian sort of based content on here, I am a Christian. Uh-oh. Of course, I am a Christian myself, but I mean that, like, I do a lot of content, just more about education, and, theology, and philosophy, apologetics, a whole bunch of stuff that's even just tangentially related to Christianity. Not that I'm using this as a platform to evangelize, but more as just a platform... Right, I'm going down. More as a platform to... Ah, great. I should have saved a charge for here, to educate people with. That's my main goal with, you know, this whole series, so I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the many biblical sins of Donald Trump as well. So, biblically speaking, what are some sins that Donald Trump has committed or even at times bragged about? Number 1, bearing false witness or deceit. Which is, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, you know? Kind of. I grant that bearing false witness generally has more of a, like, a legal context to it, but still. So, again, there are extensive fact-checking catalogs out there. If you... I get that you might not always want to trust certain media sources, but one thing I would very much encourage that I've been thinking about recently is that the best way to combat misinformation is not with silence, it is not with censoring, it is with more information. It is with enough correct information so that the listener, the viewer, the person who engaged with the misinformation is able to clearly see why and how it is misinformation on their own. Hold on, I need to focus a bit with this fight. This is... Oh, okay, never mind, we're good. Well, that wasn't too bad. Ooh, and it makes the big ones red. That is very good. So, anyway, my point being, even if you... Interesting little friend I have. Even if you might not want to trust some of the sources just because they say negative things about Donald Trump, I would still recommend that you read through them yourself as well. You know? Hey, okay, you're not letting me skip the cutscene even though there isn't, okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Whoa. Interesting room. I'll take an unidentified pill. Oh. Well, it didn't affect me. So that's cool. I'd still encourage you to read through it yourself and understand and judge for yourself why and how some of Trump's many claims might be true or false, you know? If you're at all skeptical. Another heart. Okay, cool. Let's see. So, next biblical sin to talk about is sexual immorality, including adultery. There's a lot of allegations, there's a lot of hush money payment, and there's a lot of legal findings as well about Trump in regards to these things. Ooh. All right. Sure. Welcome aboard, buddy. And we go down. So, talking about the Stormy Daniels hush money case, as well as falsifying business records. The Manhattan prosecution, not persecution, different word, similar looking, argued payments were made to conceal a sexual encounter. Trump was criminally charged in that case and, in the Manhattan trial, found guilty on counts relating to falsifying business records. The case and verdict are widely reported. That history is the factual basis for labels like adultery or sexual misconduct used by many commentators. Next. I paused because this floor is going to be real short, you know. Next, greed and fraud. Or more generally even, just dishonesty in business. but I will need to focus a minute here. This is scary. Do not kill me. I'm fragile. I'm allergic to dying. This is fine. Nice. Two Trump Organization entities were found guilty on December 6th, 2022 in a scheme involving executives avoiding taxes on compensation. Corporate conviction documented by AP, Reuters, WAPO, PBS, and others, I think. Ooh, so I think I can only take one of these. I'm fairly certain I can only take one of these. I think Jello is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Mysterious liquid. Very nice. Now, if I use Jello, I should double my tears, which with lacrophagy. Ooh, conjoined. Oh, that's actually kind of a significant damage or fire rate reduction compared to the insignificant reduction earlier, specifically. Let's see. That verdict supports allegations of criminal corporate wrongdoing and, to many observers, corresponds to biblical condemnations of dishonest gain. Next, there is civil judgments and lawsuits about misrepresentation of asset values. The New York Attorney General civil case and related rulings are additional legal findings regarding business practices of Trump and his team. And if you are one of those people who argues that, well, Trump isn't at fault here, it is simply the people that work closely with him and under him. Biblical principle here. You know a tree by its fruit. I'll take you, I guess. Whether you like it or not, the actions of a person's coworkers do reflect on them. Unless you can legally and exhaustively show that there's good reason not to, it will otherwise naturally reflect on a person, you know? No. I'm sorry, BFF. I'm so sorry. Oh, those guys scare me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm not ready to die here. I can't believe it was the horse that got me, that touched me. Next, abuse of power, or even obstruction of justice. Some would argue, including me, that there's actually been a lot of abuse of power, especially recently. First of all, we have the Mueller report. Mueller. M-U-E-L-L-E-R. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report documented numerous actions by Trump that raised substantial questions about obstruction of justice. Mueller decided to make a traditional prosecutorial decision, but laid out evidence and incidents for public record, a major investigative finding that many read as abuse of office. And this was by the DOJ. Anyway, it's time for me to focus. This might be the end of the episode right here, if I'm careful. If I am careful. Which is kind of a big if here. I'm scared, and I can't see much. That was some BS right there. That was some real BS, but in a way I'm kind of glad because we do have a fair amount more to talk about, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But it's true. But we have about 15 more minutes for me to continue making attempts today before today becomes a failure. And at this point, the only unlocks left, the only things that would prevent this from being a failure is... Actually, the only thing preventing this from being a failure is now defeating the lamb. I mean, technically I did get a new completion mark today, I guess, but... I don't know. I don't know if that's enough to really save this run. Or save today from being a failure on its own, at least by my book. Let's see, next, the whole classified documents scandal. Classified documents, federal indictment, and litigation. Yeah, did you forget about this? There has been so much that Trump has done. So much in so few years. How much longer will people say, well, he should be exempt from being bullied over this issue, when it's like any one of these on their own would have been enough to end a person's political career like 10 years ago. Now, I want you to understand a little... Oh, that's very good. I want you to understand a little context here, and that's that lots of politicians actually keep classified documents, even when they're told not to. No, actually, sorry, correction. A lot of politicians end up taking classified documents home with them. That's actually not that strange in of itself, for weird and unfortunate reasons. I mean, I don't know, maybe... I guess there's some justification for it. If they have the authority and the authorization to see it in the first place, then I guess it's not so bad that they take it home, provided that it's secured. Provided that it's secured. But what also really matters here is that most politicians also give the documents back when they're asked to. The DOJ's special counsel indicted Trump on classified document and obstruction counts. The case has complex procedural history. The indictment and court filings are part of the public record of alleged mishandling of classified materials and attempts to obstruct. Again, this is the DOJ, the Department of Justice, reporting on this. Also, the court filings were summarized in major press as well. I mean, I get that it's been a while since this was in the news cycle, but it's worth remembering that this happened. And for anyone that has ever had any sort of training with classified documents, if you looked at what the problem was, it turns out it wasn't like literally, physically looked at the images that leaked of Mar-a-Lago and the classified documents that Trump was holding on to. Again, not that a politician holding on to classified documents is that strange, just that normally they give them back when they're asked to. What also shows up in those images is pretty clear evidence that Trump, or at least some members of his team, ran classified documents through copy machines. That is a major no-no. That is like basic 101. You do not copy classified documents unless you are explicitly authorized to. And even then, there may be like special procedures involved or special ways of copying. I don't know. Oh. Yes. Okay. But to see the images of that, and to see pretty clearly in those images, someone ran this document through a basic copying machine. Like, it is... You can tell that it has been blown, the resolution has been blown up because of the borders and because of the heading, because classified documents, at least in the US, really make sure you understand that this document you're looking at right now is indeed classified. You know it, everyone else knows it, and then it's supposed to have specific, sort of, I guess the format, I guess? I can't think of a more appropriate word off the top of my head. Oh, that's a new sound. Oh! Well, new sound effect. Very cool. New sound effect. Ooh. Oh, I was hoping for the other one. I forgot about the item room. I'm getting too animated. So, that sound effect is so quiet. Anyway, just like blatant mishandling of classified documents. Next, another big one, perhaps the biggest even, arguably, is January 6th. January 6th is a day that will live in infamy for quite a few years. Ooh. Ooh. Hey, buddy. Go over here. Get down here. Yeah. Stay busy. Stay busy. Perfect, thanks. Cool. So, we're not just talking about January 6th itself, we're talking about the House Select Committee findings. The committee's final report concluded Trump engaged in a multi-part conspiracy to subvert the election and that his words and actions helped incite the January 6th attack. It made criminal referrals and documented a timeline of conduct. Incitement here is a specific legal term with constitutional complexity. The committee's factual findings are public and are the factual basis that many observers use when calling his conduct a moral or, in this case, a biblical wrong. Remember Rudy Giuliani? Remember him? I mean, I get that he's not Trump, you know? And the premise of today is talking about Trump, but yeah, if Rudy Giuliani shouting fisticuffs, or trial by combat, that's what it was, trial by combat in the days leading up to January 6th as a means to take back the election, if that isn't any kind of incitement into an auto coup, I don't know what is. This is criminally negligent behavior. Let's see. Now, I do have some cautions to say as well. Today is not just Lambast Trump Day because I felt like it or whatever. I want to talk about this in an educational context, and I want to mention... Oh. Very nice. I want to mention some of the limitations of this information. First of all, everything I've talked about today, at least so far, is a non-exhaustive list. It's, at this point, again, with tens of thousands of potential individual items, to go through an exhaustive list would be kind of impossible. Logistically. Unless you are the keeper of that list itself, I guess. But it's impossible for me or any third-party content creator, person, whatever, to go through all tens of thousands. Oh, thank you. In any sort of reasonable timeline, you know? Sorry, I hate to disappoint. Also, you know, I wanted to frame today in terms of biblical sin because I felt that's important to understand since, again, Trump appeals to the evangelical Christian base. But at the same time, sin can be a pretty strong moral judgment and a pretty general moral judgment as well. I hope I've done a decent job, like, demonstrating or defining some of Trump's actions in terms of biblical sins. I don't want this... Again, I don't want this to just be any sort of indictment of Trump, haha, indictment, simply because I don't like him, or I don't approve of his policies or whatever. No, there are good reasons, I feel, and tens of thousands of them, perhaps, to strongly dislike Trump. Of course, I also want to make a point here that I do not support any measure of political violence either. None. Not in my house. Also, when talking about this, some of the items today, I've tried to keep the items on this list to items that are fact-checkable or have... Oh no, my buddy! Or things that have had strong legal outcomes, you know? This is not simply hearsay, it is not simply opinions. Legal findings hold a lot of weight, you know? Or at least they're supposed to. It killed my friend? Oh, that sucks. So, in effect, these are some of the strongest points against Trump. At least I feel. But, you know, I actually reached the end of the list a little sooner than I was expecting I would. So, I guess it's unfortunately time to talk about more... Hello, Ghost. More recent news. Again, unfortunately, I do not like that this is where we are as a country. But, first of all, the whole migrant crime myth is incredibly infuriating. Because it is a myth. It was never fact. It was simply a blatant lie that specifically Fox News started and got away with because, again, people just... A lot of people, particularly on the right, are so willing and so willing to trust people just because they look or sound friendly or act friendly or claim to be Christian. They're so ready to give their trust to people. But in a way, it's so sad because of how taken advantage they are, you know? Also, let's see if we can't erase a spider. Ooh. Oh, I flubbed it. That hit over the rock? Oh. I didn't realize that would pass through. My hubris. My hubris. Oh well. Oh well, that's a shame. Oh, we have an item room to get to. So, again, I didn't prepare this specifically, so forgive me. Off the top of my head. Hey, ghost bombs! That's a new one for me. Observe. Get him, Ghost. Thank you, Ghost. The whole migrant crime myth started with a story out of New York, specifically. I'm not sure if you remember it, but specifically, there was a video of a person, I don't remember, it's been some months now. Actually, a year, I guess, since this story happened, but there was a man who was arrested by New York police on suspicion of being, I guess, a migrant, and Fox News specifically took up that news story and absolutely metaphorically dogpiled the guy and talked about how, well, specifically, let me back up a bit. I want to get this timeline right. I hope you understand. I hope you appreciate my willingness to try and do this in a clear and concise manner. No angel room. No angel room with all that. Okay, fine. So there was a young man who was taken into custody by New York police under suspicion that he was a migrant, or was an illegal alien? Something like that. I'll delete these guys. Why not? I don't like them. This should help a bit with the rooms, you know? No. Oh. This sucks. And I don't just mean the item. I mean the fact that I got a free angel room on a floor where I was guaranteed an angel room in the first place. This couldn't have happened last floor. But fine. Fine. I will also open this chest. Oof. Nice. Okay. So again, there was a young man who was detained by New York police. I don't remember exactly why. It may have been on suspicion that he was in the U.S. illegally. It turns out he was here perfectly legally, and that New York police had essentially just racially profiled him. Which is not that surprising for New York police specifically. And so there was a rather viral video that happened where the young man was seen leaving police custody and he flipped them off. And Fox News took up this story before they had the full picture and sided with New York police in racially profiling the guy. And then only later, only a day or maybe several days later, did it come out that no, he was here legally, and the police wrongly detained him. And Fox News, kind of live on air, said something to the effect of, okay, but there's a lot of other migrant crime. But that is never... None of the statistics have suggested that at all. That really just came out of nowhere. It was... I mean, it was said for a reason. It was said specifically because it was a diversion. They were embarrassed by the fact that they had just been caught racially profiling a guy. Just like the New York police. And so, to try and distract and alleviate from that, they said, well, okay, well, it's kind of reasonable for us to be on edge because there's so much migrant crime out there. When, again, nobody, up until that point, was talking about migrant crime at all. Nobody. Not even other major conservative, uh-oh. Oh, man. Not even other major conservative, influencers or, talk show hosts or anything. No one was mentioning migrant crime at all until Fox News suggested, almost offhandedly, that there was a lot of migrant crime in the US. again, as a means to cover their own embarrassment for having racially profiled a guy. And you know what? I'm sorry to do this to you. I don't want to talk about this topic for a second day. I know we're a little past the 1 hour mark. Call me a cheater. Call me a dirty cheater if you want. That is a terrible trade. Unless I get the Ludovico technique. I am going to do one more run. We'll see how long this lasts. I'm so sorry. Oh, I am reminded of something though. Did I ever finish the bestiary in this game? Not really related, just something that popped into my head. I don't recall. I'll have to check that after the fact. Huh. Huh. I don't remember what pill effects are unlocked by completing the bestiary. Anyway, nobody at all was talking about migrant crime until Fox News mentioned it offhandedly, and the important thing to note is that the many statistics on crime shows that outside of the year 2020, crime in the US was on a pretty solid downward trend across the board, and migrants have far less... Sorry, hold on. I want to be careful about it. Saying this. There has never been very much migrant crime at all. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely, I'll take that. There has never been very much migrant crime at all, and along with the trend, the general trend of crime in the US going down, again, not counting the year 2020, because a lot happened that year. Ooh. Migrants were not a significant source of crime in the US. They never were. There have been some migrants who are criminals, sure, and there were enough for conservative news stations like Fox News to cherry-pick them and suggest that all migrants are criminals and need to be deported now. Because unfortunately, that's where we are as a country, is that someone offhandedly lies about something, and then a year later, we abduct people in broad daylight who have never done anything wrong. Why do we abduct them? Because they don't look white enough. They don't look American enough. But don't worry, we've solved racism in this country. And in fact, if you say that we haven't, then you can expect to be let go of your position. I understand. When I say that I am a Christian, I fully understand why a lot of people, back up a second and be like, oh, okay, because there's this assumption, or at least a correlation here, with Republicans. And again, I take no major issue with conservatism. I mean, I might disagree with it on parts, but it's just so frustrating. We can do so much better as a country. Well, that's worthless. We can do so much better as a country, and yet we're just not. I'm gonna just ramble about general societal problems at this point, because I really don't like talking about Trump in any regard, in any capacity. I'm always worried, because I know that even my conservative friends, like at this point, none of my friends, none of the people my age who are conservatives that I personally know still support Trump, or supported Trump at all past like month 2 of his second term. I mean, I have had friends that, you know, voted for Trump and weren't exactly shy about that either. But you know, to them, the description that I would give to them as to, you know, why they voted for Trump, despite, again, his many scandals and biblical sins, well, you know, according to my friends, at least, to them, it was almost like a sort of sport event, where they vote for their team and their team won the election, and they were happy about that because they don't trust a lot of Democratic politicians, which is fair. And again, it was just almost a sort of entertainment to them. And so in their minds, in their own minds, it was almost sort of natural, almost sort of a foregone conclusion that they would vote for Trump because that's just, you know, it's better than the Democrats to them. And yet it's still, even though I have talked about Trump with them since a bit here and there, and again, their general opinion, their general persuasion has been that, yeah, we don't support him, we don't like anything that he's done, really, this term. It's still difficult to talk about Trump with them. It's still difficult, too. Because there's a lot of judgment involved. There's a lot of personal judgment involved. Not just that as well, but also, like, America is just incredibly polarized, you know? And we're at a point where polarization is so natural that it seems like the middle, the moderates, me, we're being squeezed out. We make up less than 20% of the population now, and moderates used to make up, what, like 60% of the population? But you want to talk about recent news. Again, I know this stuff is incredibly uncomfortable, to say the least, if not scary, for a lot of people. But it needs to be talked about. Of course, there's ICE and everything going on with ICE. It is wild to see that under the president's orders, almost directly, under the president's orders, I'll just use that, ICE officers are abducting people in broad daylight in plain clothes, and they aren't allowed to defend themselves? It's an incredibly stupid situation. Unbelievably stupid. This is Flooded Caves 1. That's interesting. I don't particularly care for those. I think I wait until next floor? I don't remember the Pandora's Box rewards off the top of my head, I'm sorry. And also, the descriptions don't show it either. So, not only is there ongoing issues with ICE, with you know, Trump asking, or I don't remember if it's Trump directly or if it's the border czar himself, but again, someone in power at least, asking or setting certain quotas for how many people should be detained and deported. That is insanity. Especially when they've already gone well past the number of estimated actual criminals who are migrants, you know? It's almost like they don't pay attention to the statistics or something, I don't know. Crazy. And it's almost like even when Republican organizations do the same statistics and agree with with the fact that, yeah, there's no migrant crime wave, they're just ignored. Okay, this is huge. This is massive. We might win with this. I need more health. I need health. But this is possible to win. With Holy Shot? Wow. But something that happened last week, if you weren't aware. Do I use this now? Sure, I'll use it now. Hey, alright, not too bad. Oh, cool. Why can't health up give me... Ooh. Get out of here. Okay. Even just last week, if you weren't aware, the U.S. military sunk, or fired on and sunk a Venezuelan ship. Ew, I agreed. I don't like that. Fired on and sunk a Venezuelan ship under the claim that the ship is smuggling drugs into the U.S. and it is part of the gang Tren de Araguas. I think that's the appropriate pronunciation off the top of my head. You know, the gang that Trump has declared a terrorist threat to the U.S. And again, it feels like satire. This feels like satire. It's so incredibly absurd. And we aren't even 1 year into the presidency. We aren't even 1 year into this current term. Into his current term. It makes me incredibly frightened for the future. Because you have the military acting in the role of law enforcement, which they aren't, and killing people without any sort of trial, without any sort of evidence, just on the claim, the almost rumor even, that they're associated with this terrorist gang. If you don't know this, if you kill someone, even if they are a bad person, nice. Right, I need to use that right away. What am I thinking? If you kill someone, even if they're a really bad person, if there's no trial, then that's either vigilantism, which is a crime, or it's murder. You can, in fact, murder a murderer. And this is not self-defense. It's pretty clear that it's not self-defense, despite Trump's argument that it is. This is the nation defending itself by sinking a ship that might be associated with a gang. Because the possibility of drugs, wow, we found one, in this country is equivalent to an active terrorist threat. It is so absurd. It is so absurd that our tax dollars are being spent this way. It is so absurd that people are dying without a trial in international waters because members of another country are being fired at by the U.S. military under the president's orders. I'm not sure if it's direct orders. It couldn't be there anyway. I don't know why I checked there. It's so disheartening. You know? You jerk. He really just had to vomit in my face, huh? Ugh. It's not that I don't love this country. It's that this country has some pretty serious problems, and if, you know, that really should have been made clear over the past few days, especially. If it wasn't clear already. Oh, it was last run that I erased you. That's right. I was wondering why they were alive again. Oh well. Ugh. That's where you are. That is so nice. Why can't health up give me a holy mantle effect? Ugh. It's just so disheartening. Everything that has happened over the past few months is so incredibly disheartening to watch. Stand by and feel like I can do nothing. Because, effectively, you know, what can I do at this point, at this stage? I'm not saying the answer is truly nothing, but even still... Oh, that's not what we want. Even still, I as an individual,
feels like I'm walking on sunshine.
Really can't do anything that makes a substantial difference at this point, you know? Not to people broadly. Nothing I can say or do is going to help actual migrants who are living in fear at the moment of being deported even when they're here completely legally. Just because they might not look white enough. Nothing I can say or do will help fix the fact that people have been fired from their jobs, from their long-term careers, because they said that they were working towards fixing problems of systemic racism. And Trump's official policy is, no, that doesn't exist here, and for talking about it, you get let go. And it's not like talks with Russia over the war in Ukraine are much better, you know? Because Trump caved so embarrassingly easily to all of Putin's demands. All of them. But as long as Putin presents things in a way where Trump feels like he wins, where Trump feels like he was treated special, like the special little boy he is, then that's enough for Trump to call it a win. Even Fox News is having a genuinely difficult time defending Trump's image because of how bad it is these days. Deservedly bad. I would love it if my tax dollars went towards Ukraine. I feel it's important to support them. There are some forms of government spending that I back. And generally I don't back war. I don't like war. I don't believe in war, but Ukraine is a tragedy. They are our ally. They're supposed to be our ally. We're supposed to be their ally. And yet Trump just caves into everything Putin wants because Putin is able to make Trump feel important. And that's the only thing that he cares about anymore. Is public image, is self-image even. Maybe not even public image at this point, because it's not like... Well, okay, I don't want to jinx this, but it's not like he's gonna run for another term. Probably, right? I mean, I know he's talked about it in kind of serious terms before, but, like, that would be a step too far, even for his conservative base. Right? Right? I hope. Okay, well that was a bunch of nothing, so now we go to the item room. That's pretty good. If I had better fire rate, it would be even better. But you know what would be best? Is a holy card. And something tells me I'm not getting one. Not anytime soon. Bye-bye, buddy. Okay, we're going down again. I am a little curious, admittedly. Okay, I'm not that curious. I mean, look, that would be nice. It's not worth it. Not worth it. I understand that I really don't add much to the broader conversation, do I? At the moment, I have 13 subscribers. I mean, I had no expectation how many subscribers I would get doing this series. Nice. Nice. So I'm grateful for everyone, and for all I know, this episode and its topic might be enough to do a few things, honestly, given the current state of the US. It might remove a bunch. I might lose some of my 13 subscribers. I might lose all 13 for all I know. I might gain subscribers. There might be... I mean... Oh, that was so dumb of me. There might be people who... Wait a minute. Why doesn't the holy card have a double effect? Oh man. There might be people who want me to talk politics even more, even though I really don't. I just feel that it's important to have this conversation at some point. But also, for all that I know, and this is completely reasonable, if you know anything about the state of the US, and, like, not just broadly, but, like, specifically, if you know anything about, a lot of recent law enforcement tactics, even just the topic today might be enough to put me on a list of some kind. After all, as much as tweeting the word gang is enough for people to be put in a national gang database. That is not a joke, by the way. That is not an exaggeration. Oh, hey, I guess this is practice for next floor. Bye-bye. Twisted Pair? We might... Okay, I need more health. I need another holy card, because I really wasted that first one. I really wasted that earlier one. This might be the run. And then we go in here. Oh, good. It's not adjacent to the locked room. I was afraid I may have just wasted keys. Yeah, I don't know who that was. But they're gone now. You. Okay, you. Okay, you. Oh, experimental pill. No thanks. Okay, if we don't get hurt at all, this could easily be the run. I mean, I guess that's every run, isn't it? I'll take a random pill speed. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Oh. Sure. I will take more luck. I think more luck at this point is worth it. We almost have 100... Oh, hi. almost 100% chance of the holy shot effect. I don't remember what it caps at. What luck level it caps at. I wanted to say like 15 maybe. But if you've been noticing, almost all of them are now holy shots. And another speed up. I'll take it. Scary, scary, scary. Pay attention. Grab a holy card from somewhere. Live, you fool. You absolute fool. I want to apologize if this episode made anyone uncomfortable. This episode makes me uncomfortable. But for better or worse, I feel like we're nearing the end of this episode. At least within the next, like, 10 minutes. The High Priestess. Oh, it even shows the modified effects. That's cool. Unidentified. Ooh. Unidentified. That's fine. More speed. Bombs are key. Very interesting. I almost want to take strength. In fact, maybe I don't almost. Maybe I do. Anyway, I again apologize for how this season is ending on this sort of topic, but again, it's an important topic, and I again have conservative friends and family. I have nothing against conservatism. I'm a moderate myself, as much as my parents think that I'm a leftist just because I disagree with them. But it astounds me that people can still defend Trump at this point. But I guess it doesn't surprise me that much. All things considered, seeing... Uh-oh. And that's why I've kept this item on me. Ultimately, I guess it doesn't surprise me that much, considering a lot of other disturbing political trends in the U.S. over the past few years. Again, it sucks because we can be doing so much better. And for one reason or another, we aren't. You know, here's something else I can rant about for a minute. Is boomers. It's not that I hate boomers, but they really show us a lot about human nature. In the US, at least, as well as other parts of the world, the baby boomer generation is, I want to say, nearly twice the size of all other generations. So they account for about 30% of the total population, I want to say. Whereas all other generations, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, account for like 15-ish% each. And with that huge lump of the population belonging to just one generation, they've had control over everything politically, really almost their entire lives. They've been in charge politically. And it's had a whole bunch of effects on everyone else. Oh, hold on. As much as boomers would like to believe that they've made the world better, in a lot of ways, they've really just set themselves up for success at the cost of everyone else. And that's not me saying that they're evil. It's me pointing out human nature. Damocles. Damocles is an item I have yet to find, so it's added to the collection. Sure. Is that conjoined? It is. Which is even better for me. Okay, can I find a card? No. No. Actually, okay, you're two normal beggars, that's fine. Oh, I can just sandwich myself in between you. Oh. That's a lot. Okay. That was a lot more of a damage up than I expected it to be. Alges! Alges, alges, alges! Strength is also amazing, don't get me wrong, but this 20 seconds might be enough to win. And another little portal. I will not be taking you this time, I'm sorry. Whew. What? This is an incredibly powerful run. Lots of new sound effects, huh? Oh, don't scare me like that. Don't scare me like that, game. No, absolutely not. Okay. We're getting so many items. Again, I don't think boomers are evil. I don't think they're narcissistic at all or anything. They're certainly out of touch. But their entire lives, they have just manipulated American politics, especially into their favor. I think that's a new one as well, for me. For my collection page. No thanks. Yes, here we are. And, you know, they are the generation that made house prices go sky high in the US to the point where people my generation or younger should almost never expect to own a home unless you inherit one. I'll use it right now. I expect to do enough damage. And that's it. That is the final completion mark. Wow. Wow. There are still a few things left to do, though. We don't have every item in the collection page. Here is a brief overview. We are missing, what, 3 on this page? Is that it? Yes. Yes, it seems to be. We're missing 3 things still on this page. One of them is Death Certificate, which means I get another one of these for free on finding Death Certificate. I need to check what the last 2 are. Wait, I have it. I have it. The Swarm and Hypercoagulation. So I need to find one of those 2 naturally. And then if I find a Death Certificate, I get the other one for free. And then that's it. Wow, we are incredibly close. This marks the end of the season, though. This is the end of Season 4. Which means Season 5 starts tomorrow. And it may very well just be 1 episode long. Huh. Let me finish off my last train of thought, though. The boomer generation, the generation of baby boomers, are the ones who are at fault for house costs being what they are also now in their later years, and as they are going out the door, the last thing they're doing politically is lowering property taxes for themselves at the cost of increasing the national debt to dangerous levels. Again, that's not me vilifying them, that's not me saying that they're evil, just that human nature is pretty selfish, pretty self-centered. And apparently, evidently, empirically even, people love their friends and families, their cohort, who are their same age, their peers, more than they love their children. At least politically. I hope we can be better. I hope my generation can be better. I hope I personally can be better if I should find myself in a situation of any sort of power or influence. And unfortunately, hope is one of the only things we can do right now. But that doesn't mean we should give up on hope either. I'm going to keep hoping for a better future. Whatever that should look like. And I hope that you'll join me in that hope. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.